Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Head, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host, the Hut, and this is another episode of the insane asylum known as WFAN.
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha, they're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha, to the funny fun.
Now, of course, this is the Baseball Hut. This is not the Baseball Hut 2. I was doing a lot of videos on WFAN on the Baseball Hut 2, but now we brought it here to the big channel to make a bigger noise. You know, this channel's getting awfully close to 5,000 subscribers, and I wanted to be able to get a bigger audience to see these videos. And they've been hits every time I've done them. They're not hits with the host of WFAN. They do not like me. One in particular is just absolutely hates me. And I'm the one, I'm really a great guy. When I say I'm the great one, it's not some BS I'm telling you. It's the truth, you know. But I've been doing videos on really WFAN for 4 years, but really been focused in on them for the past year. To be honest with WFAN on the Baseball Hut 2 monetized that channel at the end. So that got me over the line because it got me over the hours, got me more subs. And they're very popular. And I love to do these more. I'm going to keep doing it because there's no alternative to what they put out every day. Now, WFAN and CBS have sort of made a pivot. One of the things they've done is they're not putting so many things on their Odyssey.com website. So I can't find, they don't put this stuff on here for me to make fun of. Also, WFAN is trying to do what the big media does, and that's be friends with everybody. Okay? One of the things that I've noticed over the last few months is Sal Licata, who doesn't like your host, hates your host, because I make fun of him on a regular basis. And the funny thing is, I like the guy. You know, I liked the guy up until we started getting really nasty with the Mets about a year ago. And then I just start up, and I don't let up. I don't let up. And when I start with something, I don't let up. I can be very annoying, and I don't let up for nothing. But he has blocked me. He's unblocked me. Those are the sort of things that he has sort of done to your hosts. So sad. Grown man blocking another man. Ugh. I would mention that he's not the only one that's blocked me. The grifter known as Frank Fleming has blocked your host. But that's okay. He's a grifter. I know his scam. But here, Sal Licata, let's go back a little bit. Sal Licata has been a guy at WFAN for 20 years. Up until last year, he was a guy on the weekend. He worked at WOR for about a few years when the Mets were on there with their broadcast. Everything was pro-Met. He loved the Mets. He didn't say nothing negative. He went back to WFAN, and everything is one nasty comment after another. For the past year, he and his partner, the Coconut, a.k.a. Brandon Tierney, have been trying to trade every Met. In particular, they hate Pete Alonso. But something you need to know about Spaz, who's Sal, is that he has a show on SNY, and he never talks about how the Mets should trade Pete Alonso. Now, Pete Alonso did not get traded last trading deadline, and he didn't get traded this trading deadline, thankfully. But he's been knocking him. They've been running him into the ground, going after his reputation for over a year. And I've been counteracting it again and again and again for you folks. And it's been a lot of fun. I'm going to keep doing it. But I have something here, a couple of things here, which I thought was kind of amusing. And this is from the last few days. Now, the Mets have gone 6-2 in their last 7 games. They destroyed the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. They split 2 games against the scum-sucking Braves. And they won the first 2 games against the Twins. So they're 6-2. But in the middle of that, they had 2 games that they lost to the Braves. You know, a lot of people were disheartened by it. I was not. It's just part of the ebbs and flow of the season. But Spaz is trying to be sort of I don't know what the hell he was trying to do here. But let me read you what Odyssey put out. It's just complete total nonsense. And you'll see how he's all over the place and why I call him Spaz. Headline: Sal calls out negative Mets fans after overreacting to 2 straight losses. Quote, "You weaklings." Sal heard plenty of criticism over the weekend after a playful joke about the wildcard race with the Braves being over was followed up by a Kodai Senga injury and 2 straight losses to Atlanta to close out the 4-game series. No. That was not a joke. When you see Sal Licata, do you think of knock-knock jokes? There's no knock-knock jokes here. There's no comedy. He takes himself very seriously. He thinks he's not funny. I mean, even when he was wearing that clown outfit, he is not a funny guy. Nobody says this guy's, he's a funny guy. He's humorless. And he thinks he's funny. That was not a funny day. I saw that tweet that he posted a couple of days ago saying that the NL wildcard race was over. He said that 2 years ago that the NL East was over. He gets everything wrong. But Sal doesn't understand how quickly fans can turn negative after just a pair of losses, especially if the Mets have been playing like one of the best teams in baseball for nearly 2 months. So he called those negative fans out during Tuesday's show. Oh, okay. Quote, "You weaklings," Spaz said. "They lose 2 games and you want to throw in the towel." Oh, really? Quote, "My God, the team is good. Believe in it. They lose 1 game and everybody freaks out. They've been in the best team in baseball for over a month. Time to believe in them." Sal says the fan base needs to buy in on these Mets and realize they are capable of weathering a couple losses in a row or a week where the bats go quiet. The front office should be buying into them as well. "If you don't believe in them now, then when?" Spaz said. "You can doubt as I have. You can doubt to a certain extent. But they have proven that they are worthy." Oh, really, Spaz? Oh, really? Now, while this article went up and this tweet went up on X, also known as Twitter, formerly Twitter, Spaz put out this tweet, and this was in regards to the trade deadline on July 30th. This was 5/28. "The Knicks and Rangers have made bigger moves today than the Mets. 30 minutes left." Now, he's been complaining that the Mets should be all in on trade every single prospect the Mets have nailed to the ground. And, of course, that did not happen. And, in fact, a lot of teams did not move too many big prospects, other than maybe 1 or 2 teams. Like the Orioles did. They overpaid for a player. The Astros overpaid for UC Kikuchi. But everybody else pretty much did not go overboard. Spaz wanted them to go overboard. That says the New York Mets. Now, this is a guy that gets everything wrong. And I'm going to prove it here in this video. Almost 1 year ago to the day, the New York Mets made a bunch of trades. They got rid of all these veterans: Scherzer, Verlander, Canna, Tommy Pham. I mean, they got rid of anything that wasn't moving that was a veteran, had a big contract. And WFAN and Spaz Licata and Brandon Tierney in particular, these 2 clowns, and Boomer and Gio, also known as Norman and Gregory here, they completely wrecked the Mets. Now, your host is a Mets fan. But what's interesting is what Spaz did, and you can see this picture in this video, in this part of this video. He's wearing a paper bag. He was embarrassed to be a Mets fan. Embarrassed. Again, this is from a year ago. This is how Spaz gets everything wrong. Headline: Sal sporting bag over his head amid worst season he has ever endured as a Mets fan. Sal Licata was not in a feel-good Friday mood to open Friday's show. And this is when they traded David Robinson. This was the first trade. After the Mets traded David Robinson the night before to signal their pending sell-off, Spaz came into the studio with a brown paper bag over his head, once again embarrassed by what his baseball team had become. Now, I would mention also in this picture, you see him wearing a San Diego Padres shirt of Tony Gwynn. This is a baseball card from back in the 80s. I have that baseball card. He wishes he'd have that baseball card, by the way. This is what he said. I quote, "I can't show my face anymore," Spaz said. "You should wear the bag every day. For me, it's just another embarrassing year for a franchise that has had a litany of embarrassing seasons." He doesn't say this on SNY. He doesn't say this on when he was on WOR. He never said that because it was pro-Mets. The audience was pro-Mets. The audience on WFAN is anti-Met fans Anti-Met fans and Yankee fans and people that hate the Mets. Quote, I can't take it. This is one of, if not the worst season I have ever endured as a Mets fan. I told you, I don't think they should be sellers. Threatening comments. That's another thing WFAN does. They like to make threatening comments to whoever they talk about. Particularly the Mets. They love doing that. Boomer Esiason likes to threaten the Mets. He likes to threaten Steve Cohen. And they give up David Robertson before the deadline. Now, if you don't know, what happened was Dave Robertson got traded to the Marlins, and he pitched terrible for the Marlins. Terrible. There have been plenty of painful Mets seasons that Spaz has endured, but it's hard to top one where the team with the highest payroll in baseball history becomes sellers at the trade deadline. I am blaming the entire organization for failing miserably with all the expectations in the world. In this 2023 season, Spaz said, the Marlins, BT. You wonder why I'm wearing this bag? No, you're just ugly. This bag, what? That's not very nice. They're buying and the Mets are selling. Now, this is the most ridiculous thing, he says here. This is a dark day in the history of a franchise littered with dark days. And a year where I thought the dark days were behind us. This is not supposed to happen with Steve Cohen as the owner. If Steve Cohen wasn't the owner, they would have had it. They wouldn't have traded all these pitchers. They traded Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer has missed a lot of time in the past year. Okay, Justin Verlander has missed most of this season. Who they traded? They took on all that money to get rid of these guys. They brought in prospects. Now, where are they now? Where are they now? They're in the middle of the wild card spots. They're doing really well. They have a very good manager. David Stern's running this organization now. And these guys forget. Okay, specifically Spaz. Spaz forgets that he is a fake. And I've said this, I've been calling him out. And I'm going to continue to call him out as long as I do this channel. This is a lot of fun what I do here. And we're going to do more of this stuff coming up, as we can see. Now, finally in this video, I'm going to continue to talk about WFAN. And we're going to make it a lot of fun, though. I've had a lot of ideas. I've been discussing in my live streams. And what I need you to do for me is I need you to join these memberships I have on the channel. It's very basic rate. But what I'm going to do, and I'm going to create a new tier. And it's called the Puppeteer tier. The Puppeteer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hire a puppeteer. Got to get a lot of people on here. This is going to, I don't know what the course is going to be. But I need a lot of people to come in here and become a member. Join in the membership to this channel. And what we're going to do is I'm going to hire a puppeteer, and we're going to get the puppeteer to basically mock everybody WFAN. They are made to be mocked. They're made to be mocked. Frank Fleming needs to be mocked. Some of the clowns and fools at SNY need to be mocked to a certain degree. Andy Martino is made to order for a puppet. I mean, you can have him at his home and then get the Beatles Muppets, the Beatles puppets behind him, mocking him. So there's so much I could do with this channel that I think would be a lot of fun, be very different. It sounds crazy, but the best ideas are always crazy. And puppets are fun. It's all meant to have fun. And it's also a way to sort of counteract what WFAN's been doing to counteract my criticism of them. They've been mocking me in their shows. I know Tiki Barber called me unhinged. I know he called me that. They know that I watch Evan and Tiki in the afternoon sometimes when I get home. I know Tiki Barber went after me. I know that they've said that I was unrealistic about the Mets' chances this year. The host turned out to be right. I know the Mets better than they do. So they're going to be mocked into oblivion now. Now, I am only one person here. And I do my videos, I have my fun. But the one thing I've been noticing over the last few months is Spaz Licata going on different channels and collaborating with different channels like Wardy NYM, being and talking on the air with Tyler Ward, who he attacked back in December because he was so pissed off at me. He took it out on Wardy. Then the other day he was on Mets Talk with Rob, and he was on that show. But your host, my DM is open to Spaz. I have no fear of anything or anybody. I'm afraid of dogs, big dogs, if you want to know. But I'm not afraid of anything. So if you come in here, if you write to me in the DM, I'm very pleasant, very nice. But Spaz refuses to do that. He'll go on with my competitors. But he will never come on this show and have a couple of laughs. And I would mention also, he's also collaborated with the grifter known as Frank Fleming, another award winner, like I mentioned earlier in the video. He'll do all that. I understand that was I saw a piece of it. It was so bad. And Frank Fleming is so insincere with the things. His act is tired. Most people see it in pieces. I've seen so much of it. It's so damn fake. He's a fake. Fake Fleming, who was a grifter. And you got Sal Licata talking to him. Sal Licata going on Rob's channel. Sal Licata going on, collaborating with Wardy. Brandon Tierney and Sal going on Spaces on X. I mean, I know what's going on. I'm not, your host is very savvy. I'm a little naive about stuff, but I'm very savvy about things when I see changes in behavior. And, of course, if you wanted, and I really would appreciate if you become a member of the channel, we will create the funniest puppet show. Hopefully the creator the puppeteer will work with me. I haven't talked to him yet. But if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And these puppets I've seen his puppeteer work. And the voices that he does. Spot on. And these WFAN hosts are made to order. I can have a puppet of Greg Giannotti acting like a complete lunatic, threatening callers while Boomer leaves the studio. I can have Sal Licata saying something crazy, and then a second later, he's wrong. There's so much stuff your host can do here. And I really would hope that you hit the subscribe button, wanting to see this. This will be unbelievably funny and a lot of fun. This is what this channel is about. Amongst talking about the Mets, it is about having fun and entertaining you and keeping you here as long as I can keep you. This is a very different channel than all the other channels that could be on this platform, as they call it. And hopefully you'll come here. And we're close to 5,000 subscribers. That's not something to sneeze at. That tells you that this channel has a big influence. And I'm going to continue to goof on those at WFAN. And, of course, this is another episode on the insane asylum known as WFAN. Subscribe.